I want to do some rapid fire questions now.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. Um, so what are your top tips for displaying charisma and being more influential on a Zoom call?
Okay, so on a Zoom call specifically, there's a couple nonverbal cues that translate really well over camera. So one of them you do a lot, which is a lean. So a lean is a universal charisma cue. The reason for this is because when we're trying to understand something better, when we activate our five senses, we lean in. We hear something better, we lean in. We want to see something better, we lean in. We want to smell something, we lean in. So a lean cue is what you can do on a Zoom call when someone says something super interesting or powerful. We do this in person, but on Zoom, we forget that we had that kind of personal interaction. So if you were to say something, Mel, that was super impactful, I would go, really? Wow, that's so interesting. Not even a lot, just a couple of inches. And I want to do a little experiment here so you can actually feel this. Wherever you are right now, if you're sitting or standing or running or cooking, I want you to lean forward just 2 inches. Go ahead and try it with me. What research has found is that when you lean forward 2 inches, it actually activates a pre-action part of your brain. It literally makes you more motivated. And so what can happen is when you lean in, it makes you a better listener. It also is contagious. It tells the other person, wow, they like what I'm saying so much. They're literally trying to lean in to activate what I'm saying. So you want to use the lean very purposefully when you hear something good or when you're saying something that you want someone to pay attention to. So if I, for example, even on this interview, when I'm saying something that I really strongly believe in, I will bold it by adding a lean. So I'll say, this is one of the most important things I could share today. That is a cue for you. Bold, bold. Listen to this. So leans for you listening and as a speaker.
I love that.
Easy.
Is there any phrase or something that you suggest, particularly somebody who's shy or introverted, to say or do during a virtual meeting to be more influential?
Okay. We didn't even talk about verbs. We didn't even talk about words. So words are an incredibly important aspect of our charisma that we also need to address, right? So for verbal power, what you want to do, especially for my introverts, and especially on a video call, is use warmth verbal cues. We actually did a study with Dr. Paul Zak. Dr. Paul Zak is a big oxytocin researcher. He's incredible. He's one of my good friends, where I wanted to know during the pandemic if saying warm words could stimulate connection. So in other words, I'm on a video call. If we were in person, Mel, you and I would be hugging, we'd high five, we'd have some sort of touch. I wanted to know, could you replace that verbally? What we found was we had people wear, he created a software that people wear that measures their skin conductance and their physiology. When I say, I'm sending a virtual high five, I wish I could give you a digital hug, I'm giving you a warm wave from here. When I say those words, it actually triggers a physiological response on your skin. So one thing that you can do in the very start of a call or at the very end of a call is, oh, I wish I could give you a hug. A virtual one will have to do. Or this has been so lovely talking to you. I just feel so much warmth and I just had such a great time connecting with you. Using warm words, connection, warmth, trust, hug, handshake, they actually trigger a physiological response in the other person. So if you can use those warm words, it is a very easy way to trigger more warmth.
That's fantastic.
Easy.
Okay, terrific. What about emails? How do you
Oh,
display more influence, more charisma in an email? What is the pros? What's the danger zone?
okay. So remember, the good news is, by the way, I just want to say a big rule here. I'm sharing a lot of cues. Some of these cues you're going to hear and you're going to be like, oh, that one is so good. Great. Some of the cues I'm going to say and you're going to be like, I don't know about that. That's good. I actually want you to follow your instinct. There are 96 cues in the book. It's like a recipe. There are some ingredients you're not going to like. And I don't want you to do cues that you don't like. For example, one of the cues I teach is a steeple, right? So it's when you just touch your fingers together and you make sort of like a church steeple. If you watch Shark Tank, Kevin O'Leary loves this gesture.
Yes.
Some people love it. Some people hate it. If you love it, great. If you don't, discard it. So when I'm about to share cue wise, I want you to make sure that you actually like it before you use it. Like you're able to use different ingredients. Like that's
Great.
actually a good thing. I totally forgot what the question was. Will you repeat it for me?
No problem. Actually, let me ask you this one. What
Yeah.
are the danger zone cues on a virtual meeting? What should you
Okay.
never do?
Okay. So great. Okay. So danger zone cues in a virtual meeting. One, I always, 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 always want you to front with the camera. So research is very, very clear on
What does
this.
that mean, front with the camera?
Fronting. Okay. So when we are aligned on parallel lines with someone, our brain likes it. So fronting is when I angle my toes, my torso, and my top towards the camera. Research has found that if I were to give the entire interview with one shoulder angled back and my toes angled out, it would actually make it hard for you to believe me. It would make it really hard for you to open up to me. And so a mistake that I often see on Zoom calls is people will either angle out, or the worst of the worst, they have their camera on their side and they're typing like this. So
Oh,
I, as
yes. I hate that.
I,
I'm like,
ah,
just turn the damn camera off.
yes, I would rather. So one thing I want you to make sure of is your setup. Not only are you a foot and a half away, but you are on parallel lines with the other person. So you're angling your toes, your torso, and your head towards them. This is both on Zoom and in person. Even in person, when someone is kind of angled out and they're trying to talk to you, you can literally feel the disengagement. The reason for this is because our toes are sort of secret windows into the soul. That's what I like to call them. Your toes, the way that they're pointed, usually indicate a secret direction that you want to go. So I have noticed anecdotally that when someone is ready to leave a conversation, you're at a networking event or at a holiday party and they have to go to the bathroom or they're kind of done, they will angle their toes towards the exit. And that is because
Wow.
their body is like, we gotta go. We want to go. So if I'm angled away from you with my toes angled towards the exit, you're subconsciously picking up on the fact that part of me is left the conversation.
You know what I'm realizing? That's stage one of me trying to get my husband, Chris, to leave a party.
Yeah.
I go up and walk up to him, but I'm angled toward the door. Like, let's go. And I do that physically without realizing it before I put my hand on my back and they're like, let's go.
Go.
So interesting. Okay, so we know danger zone. You got to face the camera. You got to be pointed at the camera, toes at the camera.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're signaling lack of interest and not that competent either if you're not
Yeah.
paying
And
attention.
another danger zone cue is a facial cue that just want to point out. So, um, resting bothered face, right? Resting bothered face is when at rest, our face looks bothered. I have resting bothered face rather badly. And that is important to understand about yourself because sometimes at rest, people will say, are you angry? Are you tired? You should know what your resting face looks like. So, for example, if your resting face, my resting face looks like sadness. So
Mm,
sadness is a universal microexpression. So sadness is when the corners of our mouth turn down into an
yeah.
upside down U, and when our eyelids droop, and sometimes even our eyebrows pinch together. When
Huh.
I'm at rest, I tend to look a little sad because that's how my mouth points. This is important for me to know because if you look sad at rest, people are going to assume you're disappointed, you're low energy. How about anger? What if you have anger? So anger is a different look. I don't have this, but I know people who do. So
I
people
do.
who have, yeah, people who have anger at rest, they pinch their eyebrows so that these two vertical lines appear in
Yep.
between their eyebrows. And so they might be concentrating, but they look a little irritated, a little frustrated, a little angry. None of these are right or wrong, but it's important to know how people might be perceiving you when you're just listening. So since I know that I look sad, I work hard, especially when I'm listening to someone and trying to encourage them to dial up warmth. If you know that you look angry at rest, it's really important for you to dial up making someone feel reassured, making someone feel like they're not frustrating you, that you're really happy with them. That way, verbally, you're overcoming that resting face.
Yeah. So like the three head nod, the mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See, I
Mm-hmm.
just got rid of the bitch face and
There you
now
did.
I'm
There you did.
signaling warmth.
Exactly.
I'm taking the cues here. This is great. All right. Now, what are strategies for dialing up charisma and influence, warmth and competency in emails?
Okay. Emails. Yes. So I love in an email, the most important thing you have to do in an email is break social scripts. So what happened in the email, we're so overloaded with email. So I love running tests on our email newsletter. So we have an email newsletter and I can actually see what's getting open rates, what's getting click rates. And one thing that we found is anytime we trigger someone's autopilot is when we use a subject like follow up or information or update or next week's meeting. You are
Delete.
literally telling the other person's brain to go to sleep. Go to sleep.
So are you saying we can have fun in work emails?
Yes. Now, fun, what I mean is use charisma verbal cues. So this is art, not science. Certain words trigger an emotional response. For
Like
example,
what?
one study, this is a really interesting study. What they did is they wanted to know if achievement-oriented words could make people achieve more. So achievement-oriented words are words like win, success, master, achieve, compete, race. Even me just saying the word win could actually change the way your brain thinks. So here's what they did, very simple experiment. They brought people into their lab, they split them up into two different groups. The first group got an intelligence test with a very simple set of directions. These directions were completely autopilot, socially scripted, sterile. Please take the following test to the best of your ability. You have 10 minutes to complete it. Please use a pencil. Okay. Very, very basic directions you've read a million times before. The second set of directions was the same word count. So not longer, not shorter, but they swapped in a couple of achievement-oriented words. So please perform well on this achievement test. The more answers you can win correctly, the better. Please succeed with a pencil, right? So they just sprinkled in a couple of achievement-oriented words. They found that just 3 or 4 achievement-oriented words not only made them perform better on the intelligence test, it doubled the participants' desire to keep working on the test.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
It's so cool because it means in your emails, you can gift behavior change.
Okay, so for charisma, which impacts influence and income and interest or in whatever the heck they are, impact.
Impact.
So for email, what words do we want to use? Are we throwing in emojis and GIFs? Like, how does this work? Obviously
Okay.
not all caps and tons of exclamation points, but
No. Okay. So what I like in an email is to have, and I have samples of this in the book if you want to like read a template, is I want you to have warm words, a couple of warm words. Warm words trigger the warm and fuzzies. So happy to connect with you last week. I'm so looking forward to collaborating in our meeting next week. When people read words like collaborate, they are literally more likely to be collaborative. Okay. So you are actually gifting behavior. What I want you to think about when you're writing an email, this is a really weird way to write an email, but it works. How do I want someone to think, feel, and behave after reading this email? If you want them to be warm and collaborative and open and happy and trustworthy, use those words. You are literally gifting them that feeling. But if you want them to get it done, be productive and efficient, let's brainstorm, let's power through, onwards, let's do it. I want you to gift more competent words. So the perfect email has a balance of let's connect, let's collaborate. I can't wait for the meeting next week. And let's blast through this agenda. I can't wait to hit our goals. We're going to do everything together. Onwards, Vanessa.
You know what I hear is I hear enthusiasm. I hear confidence in those words. You're displaying that, which then signals to me that I'm on a team that wants to do that. You want to know one word I don't like in an email?
Oh, tell me.
I hate that trend that started a couple years ago where people would generically sign everything best.
Oh,
Best to me as a sign off is like passive aggressive, not interested, phony pretending I give a shit. That's what best means to me.
and it's socially scripted, right? Like,
Yes.
it doesn't even mean best. It doesn't even mean anything. A little experiment that we did in our newsletters is I was trying different sign-offs and I wanted to know if I could change like people's perception of me based on the sign-off. And so now I use, after a series of tests, always every sign-off in my email is to your success, Vanessa.
Oh, thank you, Vanessa.
It's like a gift. It's like success.
Yes.
Let's gift it.
I love that. And you know what I just noticed? I spoke at the end of my breath. So I was like, oh, thank you, Vanessa. Like I went up on that. And I don't know if that means that I was not being,
No,
I actually mean it. So now I'm going to breathe. Thank you, Vanessa. I don't know.
but actually that was authentic because you were, it was a compliment. It was appeasement.
Yes,
Right? So you were encouraging, liking. So you went really high because you loved it.
I
We
did.
do when we're around babies and puppies. We go really
Yes.
high like this because we really, really want them to feel good. That's good.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yes.
But remember, all of our people pleasers out there, speaking like that around puppies and babies, and when you truly mean it because you want to compliment someone, that's great. Speaking like that all the time because you are seeking reassurance or seeking being liked, that's killing your ability to be respected, and it's also not authentic. Oh boy, are you and I in for a treat today? We are going to talk about the hacks and tips and tricks and research that you can put to use in your own life so that you appear more confident to other people. It's going to help you make the impression and the impact with other people that you really want to make.